Hello guys, and welcome back. Welcome back to battery trays, but not like before. This time we're going to try and find somewhere to put the 12 volt battery. Hello guys, this is Future Ollie Bro butting in just to mention that, as per usual with me, you'll not be surprised to hear everything is all out of sequence. This video was recorded about 2 or 3 months ago, and for various reasons I just didn't get it put out, and for various other reasons I've decided to put it out this week, mostly because I haven't done a whole lot for the last 2 or 3 weeks, so I thought I might as well put out some of my older footage. One other thing though was, when I was watching this footage, editing the video, it suddenly occurred to me that I should have a piece of angle iron going across like that and along the length of the battery on both sides, and that would hold everything much more secure. So I could probably weld it to this, or I'll reuse this or whatever, but we'll come up with a way to hold it a little bit better than what we are currently. Anyway, with all that said, on with the video and show you how we managed to achieve what we've got here. Some of you may be wondering, why on earth would an electric car need a 12 volt battery? Well, it's quite simple. Your 12 volt lights need to be powered, your 12 volt to the dash needs to be powered. There's lots of things that still need 12 volts, so you need to have a 12 volt battery. So you have to find somewhere to put it. Now in this case I intend to reuse the Nissan Leaf 12 volt battery, which is really quite small. It doesn't need to be as big as a standard 12 volt battery because you're not driving quite as many things off the 12 volts as you would be with an ordinary car, and you're not trying to start the car first, for one thing. But you do need to use it for driving things like heated seats or whatever. So what I'm trying to do now is to figure out a way that I can locate this 12 volt battery into this area, which is where the original 12 volt battery would have sat, but I think it went acrosswise. It took up a lot more space than I actually have available. So what I've hoped to do is, this is the battery tray out of the Nissan Leaf. Now I've cut some bits off the bottom of it, and also I have made it slightly narrower than it was previously. It's still plenty wide enough for the battery. I'm not quite sure why it was quite as big as it was, but I cut off this edge and then bent up the lip, so we still have a lip like we did before to prevent the battery from slipping out. But the plan is to try and fit this down here, and pretty much the same location where the original battery tray used to sit. So it should be able to sit here. Now what I need to do is to put some sort of a bar, or a threaded bar or something, anyway, just to enable it to go around this connector. This is for the anti-lock brake system, I believe. This is part of the original battery tray. I'll just take this out. And it originally sat in here like so, as you can see. So I need to replicate the way it stands out from the side, just so that it clears this connector. I mean, in theory I could cut the wires and put it in tight, but I'm happy enough just to do. There's plenty of room, so I can get it in. So I need to replicate these standoffs in some way. I've already put a piece of angle iron down here, which is sort of coming across and down. So that is bolted into these two positions, so that's nice and secure. And I can use these. There's 2 bolt holes, like I showed you before here, that I can reuse. Okay guys, well, as you can see, I've got a couple of bits of box section welded onto the inside here. which is spacing it out nicely from the side of the car. I have welded a piece of the original support bracket. So what I plan to do is I'll put a piece of stud, probably 6mm, something like that, coming up from there to go through that hole there, so that I can then bolt it down onto this. But I need to secure it from here. So what I tend to do is put this back in. That's approximately where it's going to sit. So what I plan to do is to take a piece of this, put it down on there, and obviously there's way more than I need, but the plan then is to have a couple of bolts here to secure it to the little piece of angle iron. Now the reason I'm bolting it to this and not welding it to it is there's a couple of nuts which are going to be, if you can see them there, there's a couple of nuts which are going to be virtually impossible for me to get to if I were to weld this in place. So if I can have that as a bolt-in item, this could be welded to that. So if I can have that as a bolt-in item, then all I need to do is get these two nuts in place first, and then get them nice and tight and everything secure, and then I can just set this in afterwards, and I don't need to worry about those, because like I say, with this in place, there's no way I'm going to be able to get to those bolts, those nuts. The reason I can't get them using a socket with a long bar is that I've made it too tight. As you can see, it's very close to this sidewall. So entirely my fault. I've made everything far too tight, and yeah, that's why I am needing to go this way, but it's not too big a problem. It should be alright. Okay guys, well, after a lot of faffing about and some very bad welding due to me not setting my speed control properly on the welder, this is, I think it's pretty well done. And the idea behind this is that this goes in here and clamps on over these two, like so. And then this comes in and goes in like that. And down there you can just about see there's a hole where I can put an M8 bolt into it. I don't know if you can see it or not. And over here we've got a hole for another M8 bolt. So basically this, which is a very shallow bolt, can go in there like so. And then another similar one, go down in there. Let me see if I can see that any better. Yeah, that's it there. So that goes in there and bolts it down to this. This is bolted onto here, so it's being supported from this. This goes in here. Zoom out. Let's go in like that and get supported there. So basically the whole thing is now bolted in, secured, and more than strong enough to hold that. So now all I need to do is figure out a way to support the battery and stop and tie down the battery, but that should be reasonably straightforward. Alright guys, so after a lot of messing about today, we've finally got this thing finished. As you can see, I just have the piece of threaded bar going down and coming out here, and I've got another piece more or less doing the same thing on that side. So that seems to be, I think that seems to be okay. It's certainly solid. It's not moving anywhere, and I haven't got this too tightly bolted down, but it seems to be doing the job alright. So anyway, now I've got the main battery sorted out. Ooh, just occurred. I better make sure the headlight can go in. Back in a second. Oops. The battery is not the problem. What is the problem is my seal here. So I'm going to have to rethink that. That's not good. I think I'm going to have to bring it in and across. So yeah, not so good. Okay guys, well in the last video, if you watched it that is, you will have seen me making this battery cover to cover the front of this battery box. And that was fine, that fitted nicely, and I was able to get it to go around the batteries, and everything would have been alright, except for one small thing, the headlight. Yeah, what was going on was this part of the frame was originally coming out to here and going down. that would have been fine, but the bottom of the headlight was hitting the frame. So what I had to do then was just take it out of the way. So what I had to do to try and sort that out was I made this piece of steel which is just attached to the actual frame itself. So it's a structural part. Made that so that it would go over, just over the battery, as you can see. Gives the battery plenty of clearance. This is normally going to be down a bit further, so yeah. It gives the battery enough clearance, but it also gives the headlight sort of it's close to the battery and close to the headlight, but it's not interfering with either. So that's good. That's pretty well sorted, and like you just saw, this then all had to be, the end of this had to be cut off and remade to match. So that's okay. I'm happy that that's now, well, I can seal up the front of the battery box again. So kind of 3 steps back to take 2 more forward, or 2 back to take 3 forward, whatever. But that's done, and took most of last Sunday to do that. So it was the day I was hoping to be doing other things, slightly more interesting, but yeah, well, it's one of those things. When you're doing something bespoke like this and you've never done it before, and you run into these issues, I guess. So anyway guys, that's the story of why I ended up with this the way it is, the shape it is, and the story of the 12-volt battery tray. And next time I hope to tell you the story of the high voltage cables and how the battery box at the back of the car is almost finished. Just a few things to button up there, and the cables are right through to the front of the car. So the next step is to get the high voltage cables into the high voltage junction box, and we can then maybe do some proper testing. Still have to sort out the brakes and the power steering, but at least I know how I'm going to do that, or at least I have a plan for all that. So hopefully next time we'll be a little bit further on. So thanks for watching, and bye for now.